What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the show, man. Recap with Mo, where we getting ready to get into a brand new episode breakdown of Tyler Perry's SISTAS. But before we get into this thing, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss shit snit that's going down, alright? So the episode we're getting ready to get into is for season 8, episode number 4, titled Showing Out. Now, in this episode right here, we kick it off exactly where we left off with Hudson and Andi at the hospital. Now, in the previous episode, Andi had came up there, so she can do what, Robin had conveyed, to her previously, like, I need you to play the distressed fiance. I need you to be the concerned fiance. So play the role until we can figure out how to get you out of this jam or whatnot, right? So as she's coming into the hospital, here comes Hudson all up in the way. He tells her that she can just, kill the whole damsel in distress because ain't nobody falling for it, right? So Andy's like, look, this is neither the time nor the place to be doing this right now. I simply came up here to check in on my fiance. So she's playing the role pretty well, but Hudson is not going for it. So he's like, look, you can just cut all of that out. As a matter of fact, you can just leave because you didn't care anything about Gary. As a matter of fact, you were the one that did this to him. So now she's standing up here, going back and forth with this man, telling him that she had nothing to do with this. As a matter of fact, I wish that the person that did this to him did it to you. So he's standing there with his arms crossed with an attitude, right? So as she's trying to get by him, Hudson then puts his hands on her, grabs her up by the shoulders and moves her back so she can't get into the room. And I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. Like, you're a little bit too emotional about this, my boy. Like, what's really going on here? So as they going back and forth, here comes Officer Clyde running over to Hudson and Andi, asking them why are they yelling and screaming in this hospital or whatnot. Now, the crazy thing is, Officer Clyde was given the job and task of securing Gary's room. But unfortunately, Hudson is pissed off because Officer Clyde has disappeared, going over to get him a bite to eat across the street. Now, he's describing the plate and the food and everything in between. Hudson is like, look, bro, I don't want to hear none of that. Why were you not here? As a matter of fact, I need you to do one thing right here and right now. I need you to get rid of Andi. Now, Andi tells him that she's not going anywhere. And he's like, okay, well, who are you? She goes on to tell him that she's the fiance. So he was like, well, I don't see a problem with her going into the room to check in on her man or whatnot. Now, Hudson is like, not going down today. He's like, well, why not? He goes off into his suit jacket pocket and pulls out a power of attorney. I'm like, hold on, bro. I said, this dude is doing too much. Now, I've already told y'all in the previous episode that I'm starting to feel some type of way about Hudson. I'm just not able to place my finger on it, but there is something that's not right. Maybe he's the one trying to get rid of Gary and has failed, or, it could be something more. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure, but we're going to leave that there for right now until we can figure out a little bit more, right? So anyhow, from there, we now head over to the law firm where we see Robin and Fatima standing out in the lobby. Now, as you recall in the previous episode, Fatima was trying to call her girlfriend, Andi or whatnot, to see if she could call and try to fix this situation going on at the law firm or whatnot. And as she's on the phone, here comes Robin out of Andi's office, seeing her on the phone, the same place where she was the last time he told her to go and do some business on his time, right? So he comes over and he's like, hey, who you on the phone with? As a matter of fact, was it work related? She goes on to tell him, yeah. And he was like, that was Andi, wasn't it? And he was like, and she's like, yeah, but I was just trying to check in. And he was like, look, let me go ahead and tell you. Look, I need you to do what I need you to do at this office, at this workplace while you at work. I know you and Andi are more than just co-workers. I know that you guys are friends. And all of a sudden, Fatima's like, look, can I be honest with you? And Robin is like, yeah, of course. So she sends the receptionist away. I don't know why they didn't go to Andi's office to have this conversation, but they decided to have it right here, right? So she goes on to tell him that she knows and understands that, he and Andi had a little red light special a few times or whatnot, and I know it's in the past or whatnot. But, I'm also feeling some type of way about you showing up right here and right now, unexpectedly. And he's like, well, I got the best interest of the company and whatnot. I heard about Leland's passing and all of this stuff and all of this stuff going on over here. And I just decided to show up and check in on things to make sure that everything goes smoothly. Now, he sounds good. But at the same time, I'm still not trusting this Joker. Like, I don't know, man. The jury is still out, man, because it is ironic that you just showed up all of a sudden and immediately went over to where Andi was. Now, could it have been a coincidence that he just showed up and it just so happened that, Gary had gotten stabbed and all of this stuff? Woo, woo, woo. Yeah, it could. You know what I'm saying? And this is Tyler Perry, so it is what it is. So getting back to the story here, before Robin goes back to the office, Fatima's like, look, I got one more thing to ask you. And she's like, why in the world would you place me and Hayden together? As a matter of fact, he's already told me about this situation because he could not wait to put it in my face that he was going to be my boss. And she couldn't even say the word right. And he was like, yeah, he is your boss for the time being, temporarily, but I need you to play this role, as I stated before. And the reason why he's doing that is so he can make sure that Hayden has his workload as well as Andi's, but also to keep him out of the partner's ear, and also to have Fatima there to make sure that he stays honest. So as much as she doesn't want to do it, she's doing it for Andi. So that's a good friend, man. I appreciate that, holding it down for your sister, man. Anyhow, going on from there, we head over to the airport where we see Danni standing behind the counter, meditating, getting her mind right before she has to deal with customers, I'm assuming. And here comes Tony strolling over to surprise Danni with a gift. Well, I'm sorry, let me go ahead and take that back. She said it was a gift. He said it was a surprise. So I'm going to just go on what he said. So he stated that he was getting ready to surprise her with something. So, of course, he was like, okay, what is it? So this brother reaches off in his jacket, gives her a brochure with some information on an unpaid leadership program at the airport, right? So, of course, he's like, okay, what is this? And as she's looking at the brochure, Tony is like, look, this is something that is big. It is so beneficial for you on all of this stuff. Whoop, whoop, whoop. But at the same daggone time, Danni is like, so you really thought I wanted this? And she was like, well, is this paid? It sounds like this is a paid opportunity. He goes on to convey to her that, no, it's not paid, but you get the opportunity to sit behind people, learn from the big wigs at the workplace or whatnot. And then there are some Saturdays you got to throw in there. So she's listening to all of this and she's like, okay, go ahead and stop, bro. This is not what I wanted. You said it was a surprise. So I'm assuming it's something in a box, something that is shiny, something of that nature. But I never asked for this. I didn't want this. I didn't want this surprise. So anyhow, moving on from there, he's like, are you serious? Like, no, you're serious right now. And she was like, I'm absolutely serious. And I'm sitting over here like, bro, Danni seems like the type of chick that already doesn't want to go to work. Now, you're asking her to go to this non-paid leadership training that she did not ask for, but potentially she has to give up a Saturday. And I'm like, bro. So I had the same look on my face like, bro, you just don't know. So anyhow, moving on from there, talking about somebody frustrated, let's move on to somebody that's really frustrated at this time. We head back over to the firm where we see Hayden is literally chasing and running behind Fatima, and Fatima goes into the conference room. Here comes Hayden into the conference room. So now he's sitting down and he's enjoying every bit of this. He tells her that he saw her talking to Robin, so I'm quite sure that Robin, conveyed to you what's going on and that I'm your BOSS, right? And, she really didn't want to say nothing, but she was like, yes, he did tell me that, and it is temporary, so let's just do the work. Now, with Hayden, you already know that he's going to make this 10 times worse than it needs to be. He goes on to tell her that he's going to teach her about respect. And she's like, look, I don't need you to teach me anything. I just need us to be able to work together to get this job done and whatnot. So while they're going back and forth and whatnot, here comes Zach walking towards the conference room with a little sack lunch and whatnot. So as he's coming into the conference room, Hayden looks over and he sees Zach and he's like, hold on, wait a minute. Like, what's going on? Like, you already needs to be doing your job, but you definitely ain't doing no work while he's over here. So you need to get him up out of here before I call security. Now, Zach is like, hold on, wait a minute. I just came up here to bring some lunch. Whoa. Now, Fatima's like, look, Zach, I got it. I got it taken care of. Don't worry about it. Hayden is like, oh, you ain't told him. And I was like, man, don't do it. Don't do it. So he goes on to tell Zach that he, for the time being, is her boss. And as her boss, I need you to get your tail up out of this office so we can work. Now, Fatima is looking at Zach and she was like, look, Zach, don't worry about it, because she doesn't want him to get in trouble or whatnot. She tells him like, look, I got it. Don't worry about it. I know how to handle, Hayden or whatnot. Now, Hayden looks over at Fatima and then turns back to Zach and is like, oh yeah, I believe that, because she's definitely handled me before. And I'm like, dang, come on, man. I said, man, you did not have to go there, bro. So anyhow, Zach is trying to put those hands on him, but Hayden gets up to run to the other side of the room and then goes on to tell Fatima that she got 5 minutes to get this felon up out of the office. If not, he's calling security. So anyhow, going on from there, we head over to the branch where we see Maurice and Sabrina. Now, Maurice is asking Sabrina what went on. He wants to know the 411 of what exactly happened to Gary and who hit him up with the knife, right? Now, she tells him that she really doesn't want to discuss it. She doesn't really want to talk about it or think about it, right? And he was like, yeah, I understand, but you personally shouldn't feel no type of way about it, because truthfully, the brother had it coming. The way he was talking to Andi, the way he was treating his fiance Penelope, the way that he was treating you all at the baby shower and all of that good stuff, like the brother had it coming. So you should feel no ways tired. You know what I'm saying? And I absolutely agree. As hard as it is for me to agree with Maurice, we do stand on this together. Like, she shouldn't feel no type of way about it. He got what was coming to him. Now, who was it coming from? That's the question. That's what we need to get into. So anyhow, I guess we'll figure that out, within, 2, 3, 10 episodes. We'll get there eventually, right? So anyhow, as they're standing there in the branch discussing this matter, here comes Paige demanding justice. And of course, Maurice is like, oh no. So he ducks down behind the counter asking who is it, what do they want, and all of that good stuff when he knows exactly who it is, right? So Paige is asking Sabrina, is that him? Talking about Maurice. Now, Sabrina's like, what on earth are you talking about? What do you mean? Is that him? She goes on to say, is that him that, pretty much tarnish my image or whatnot, or my reputation, right? Now, she's talking about the situation that somebody had reported that she was, out there giving a red light special to multiple people behind the branch or whatnot, doing a little something strange for a little piece of change or whatnot. That goes well with the bank. But I'm just saying, she's wanted to know, was he the one that did that, right? And Sabrina's like, look, I don't know what you're talking about. Maurice is like, who in the world would do that? While he's laughing in her face, right? Long story short, she tells Sabrina that she's already contacted the HR department and all of this stuff, talking about she's getting her job back and all of this. And Sabrina's like, look, I need you to contact HR, have them give me some documentation or give me a phone call to let me know what's going on, or else the next time you come up in this branch, it's going to be some problems. You heard me? So going on from there, we now head back over to the airport where we see Tony and Danni. Now, Tony isn't understanding what the issue is. Like, he thought with her participating in this leadership training that this would be beneficial for her, that she would be able to grow within the company, get a promotion, something like that, and just not stay in this situation where she is. Now, Danni's point is she's not looking to move up within the company at all. Like, this is just a regular 9 to 5 for her. After that, she's gone. She's good. She still has her life to live. And some people are just like that. And Tony has to understand that, because he goes on to say, well, I've noticed with your friends, they are moving on, doing better things. And it's sort of like a dig at her, because he's just assuming that since her friends are doing better, everything is going well with them, that she would just want the same. And Danni is telling him right here, right now, that's not what I want. I want to get myself better. I'm going through therapy to make myself better. And then once I figure out where I am with that, maybe, just maybe, I will be able to move further, right? So anyhow, going on from there, next we head over to the hospital where we see, Andi, Hudson, and Officer Clyde. Now, Andi is actually looking at the document at this moment in time. What's his name? Officer Clyde is sitting over here like, look, I don't know much about the whole legal jargon and all of that good stuff, but what I do know how to do is read, and what I'm able to read on this document is that Hudson is the, power of attorney for this man in this room, so unfortunately I'm going to have to escort you away from the room or whatnot. Now, Andi tells him there's no need for that. She can walk off on her own. Now, as she's getting ready to walk away from the room, here comes Hudson grabbing her up once again, and I'm like, bro, you like Johnny Gill right now, like you like rubbing her the right way, like, bro, let her go. So he's sitting over here grabbing her arm, and he's telling her that he's had a change of heart. So of course, as he's saying this, I'm not believing it, and I'm like, Andi, do not trust this dude. Something is not right. He tells her that he's had a change of heart, and he's deciding to allow her to go into the room, and tells her that, it would be good for, your fiance to see you or hear you. Maybe it will bring, some comfort to him or whatnot and bring him up out of this. And I'm like, no way. Something is not right about this situation, man. For real, for real. So anyhow, going on from there, man, we head back over to the law firm where we see Zach and Fatima. Now, long story short, Fatima tells Zach that there's something not right about Robin. She has this feeling that he's obviously trying to keep her occupied, so she's not able to look into some things, right? And I'm sitting there like I'm right there with you, sis. Something is not right about this situation. Now, Zach is like, well, I mean, what skin does he have in the game? Like, what reason would he have to do what you're saying that he did, right? And, she goes on to tell him that all of this stuff was going on, and Gary and Hayden and all this stuff. So there was a lot of stuff that obviously she hasn't told Zach about. And he was like, oh, okay. And then he was like, dang, like, old girl got a whole bunch. She's just running them in and out. So, of course, he has to pull his card as well, because there's no way in the world, Zach, you can be sitting over here talking about Andi going through them, and you got 3 baby mamas. Hey, man, the hypocrisy, man. So, anyhow, going on from there, man, eating that dry tail sandwich, talking about it's greasy. She couldn't kiss him because it was greasy. And I was like, I don't see no daggone grease on the sandwich wrapper, nor the daggone bag. Man, go on and get up out of here, man. So anyhow, going on from there, we now head over to Karen's new salon, where we see Pam is standing in there. She's obviously opened up the salon and whatnot. Karen is walking in and thanking her for opening up the shop. Obviously, her boo helped her, bring in the supplies and whatnot. And since we're talking about the supplies, Miss Marie, Willis had invested into, Roots to Riches and whatnot. So in the previous episode, Pam had asked her about helping her or assisting her with a business plan so she could hand that over to Miss Marie. Now, Pam wants to know what's taking so long, because she's actually obviously told Miss Marie she was going to have it soon or whatnot. And you already know how Miss Marie is. Now, Karen goes on to tell her that it's going to take a little more time. You got to cross every I. Did I say that wrong? Dot every I and cross every T. Like, it has to make sense, right? Not just for the people that are investors or for the bank, but for yourself, so you can have a plan in place to make sure that your business is successful, right? So anyhow, as Karen is going back to the office or whatnot to sit down to work on that business plan, here comes an angry client coming in, not from the new salon situation, but for the Roots to Riches. And I was like, I already knew there was going to be some shiznit going on right here. Already knew it, man. So, she's talking about, I want to talk to the owner of the salon. Pam is like, may I assist you? She was like, are you the owner? She was like, no, speaking through her teeth or whatnot. She was like, well, I need to talk to the owner. So she's screaming to the top of her lungs right now. And finally, Karen comes to the front and she was like, how may I help you? She insults Karen a little bit, and she was like, look, let me go ahead and hold my tongue. Yes, I am the owner, and I would really appreciate it if you would not insult my, employees or whatnot. So she was like, how may I assist you? Now, old girl is like, look, I would be good if you jokers would stop selling this crap in this salon, talking about the roots to riches. And I'm like, here we go. Old girl takes her hat off. Now, I don't know what's wrong with her hair. I'm not a female. Like, I don't know what's it. I mean, it looked all right. I guess it was a little frizzy, but I don't know what was wrong with it. Or, hold on, let me look at it. Maybe it's going too far back. Is she losing hair in the front? Maybe y'all maybe y'all could tell me, right? So anyhow, from there we head back over to the airport where we see Danni and Tony having this conversation in front of every daggone body, right? And when I say every daggone body, I'm talking about employees, I'm talking about, customers and everything, and they all up in their business, right? So first things first, all right? There's one thing to show respect. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're all grown-ups here. And I feel at this moment in time, obviously Danni is going through something. I'm not sure what it is. Hopefully we'll find that out soon. We know that she's dealing with her own issues. But at the same time, for her to harp on, Tony, and I know I've already said he needs to know his woman. At the same time, I think that she needs to know him as well. Because all jokes aside, for real, I don't think he had ill intent. Sometimes you need encouraging. You need that kick in the rear to get you going in the right direction. But it doesn't always work for everybody. Sometimes it's the opposite. And I do not believe that Danni is in a place right now mentally to really, want to do better. And maybe I'm wrong, but I could be right at the same daggone time, right? And I just feel like right now, she doesn't know what she wants to do, but right now she's already telling him that she can do it her own daggone self and she doesn't need any guidance. She doesn't need a man in her life to try to dictate where she needs to go, how she needs to do it, the way she needs to do it, and all of that good stuff. And I'm like, okay, all right, it is what it is. But at the same time, if I'm going to be honest with y'all, if we're in a partnership, if we're husband and wife, we're fiancés, or if we're in a relationship and I consider you my significant other, it is my job to encourage you, regardless of if that's what you really want or not. If we're trying to take our relationship to the next level, daggone it, if I'm seeing you are great at something or I can see the potential in you, what's wrong with giving you encouragement? So I just don't know, man. Maybe Tony needs to take a step back. She's throwing his kids in it and all of this good stuff. Maybe you can holler at the chick and maybe I'm not the woman for you. All of that good stuff. Those are codes, man. Those are codes for you to step off, step away. Maybe Danni is not the woman for you. Now, I love me some Danni. Beautiful woman, man. But at the same time, sometimes you got to step back from those beautiful women as well and just focus on yourself as well. Maybe both of y'all need to take some time alone to figure out what you guys really want, right? So anyhow, going on from there, man, we head over to the branch where we see, Sabrina's in her office. She's feeling some type of way. She's not understanding why this continues to happen to her, where someone is claiming that she's did something that she honestly did not do, right? So for the first time in a while, Maurice is a friend and he's an ear for her to vent. And she's just simply pouring out her emotions for Maurice to hear. And I was glad for just a small moment, about 95%, Maurice was serious. He was there as a friend. And he also offered her some advice. All right. So it was good to see him not being silly, but just being a friend and being a concerned friend. Right. And then, of course, he had to give you some of the comical pieces of it. But overall, he did good. And Maurice, I commend you for that, my boy. So keep doing that. Anyhow, from there, we now head back over to Karen's new salon where we see old girl still going off. Now, I actually see what's going on. I saw the little patch over there on the side of her head. I didn't know it was her edges. And I'm like, dang. She's still beautiful, though. Like, maybe she could do... I don't mean to... They offered her a wig now. So this woman, she going to the 10th degree talking about she won $400K, man. And listen, that ain't gonna help your edges come. I guess it'll help you feel better or whatnot. You can buy a whole lot of wigs with that. But at the same time, all seriousness, right? So she's going off, she's going live, she's telling them that, that's the only product that she used or whatnot. And I'm like, daggone, like, obviously, she's the only customer currently that's, complaining about the product or whatnot. Maybe she had, some side effects or something. I'm not sure. Or maybe she used something else. Maybe it's something else. And she didn't even say what? She almost messed me up. I almost said aloe vera. What is it now? Daggone, I can't even say it. Alopecia or something like that. I can't even think about it right now. That's how crazy that was. And that was good, Tyler. I like that one to the writers, man. But yeah, anyhow, like, you know what I'm saying? You can still get a man, though. We ain't worried about no baby hair. Listen, I'm telling you. We ain't worried. And the way you looking right now, ain't nobody concerned about no daggone baby hair, man. Cut it all off, start over. Anyhow, going on from there, we head over to the hospital where we see Andi is finally in the room with Gary. Now, initially, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I did not know if he was being for real. I did not know if he and Hudson had put all of this together and were acting like he was actually unconscious and out of it in ICU or whatnot. But maybe he is out of it, right? Now, we did see somebody come in, in the previous episode with a syringe or whatnot and do what they did to him when they did it. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. But at the same daggone time, I still feel like Hudson or Robin has something to do with it. But that would be too simple, right? Who knows, man? So, and it could be Tamara, but it didn't look like Tamara in the picture because she was dealing with something else. So, I just don't know, man. All of them could be together. Anyhow, we already know. So, anyhow, as she's sitting there on the bed, she's just pouring her heart out to Gary, like reminiscing of all the good times, the little cupcake and him telling her that he left his wife. Something, it was already a red flag right there and there, right? I left my wife for you. Like, no. If this man is leaving his wife for you, he can leave you for somebody else. Listen, I'm just saying that obviously that's what he was doing. So I'm just saying, she was reminiscing of the good times and then the bad times. And then, as she's rubbing him and stroking his arm or whatnot, I'm sitting here like this brother is getting ready to wake up. It just seems like this brother is getting ready to open his eyes. And all of a sudden, as I'm saying that, I look up, this brother is winking and opening up his eyes. And she was like, oh my God, Gary, you're awake. And I'm like, why are you so emotional? Like, we need him to close his eyes, right? So all of a sudden he does close his eyes and then he starts foaming from the mouth. I was like, daggone it. And you in the room and Hudson is rushing in. So obviously he was watching through the door. And I'm like, bro, he done set you up. That's all I could think about. He done set you up because it's going to be your word against his word. And he's the power of attorney. And all he can say is, I should have never allowed you to come off in this room because you were the one that did what you did to him when you did it. And I should have never let you come in there because I should have never done it. And he's going to do it, man. He's going to set her up. I'm telling you, I don't know. This just feels like a plan to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but we will see. Anyhow, that is the end of the episode. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this. Make sure to like and subscribe, of course. Make sure to share this with someone that you think will enjoy this one as well. Make sure to check back in later, man. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.